Hey everyone, this is Sam from Wargamer Online, and today we're going to be painting one of the greatest models of all time, Hlaine Mad Larkin from the Astra Militarum range. It's an awesome model. There's a full tutorial on the website wargameronline.com, so if you want to see how to paint the rest of the model, head on over to there and pay for the premium membership to get access to that. But today we're going to be painting basically a fair skin tone, and we've started with a base coat of grey. We've been priming it with grey. And we're going over it with Cadian flesh tone now, and we're just picking out all of the skin areas with this colour. Make sure you do 2 to 3 coats of this, keep the paint thin. I normally mix it with some Lahmian medium or some water and just try to get almost like a 50-50 mix of paint to water or paint to medium, whichever is your preferred thinner. Once that's fully dried, we're going to add a wash to all of the skin areas, and we're using Reikland Flesh Shade for this. And you can use different tones. You could use Agrax Earthshade and thin it a little bit. You could use Seraphim Sepia or Sepia as well. But I'm just using Reikland Flesh Shade for this. And you need to let it fully dry before we go on to the next step. You're probably going to be needing to wait about an hour for that. So if you're doing more than one model, you can get the base coat down with the Cadian, then put the wash on. And then by the time you get round and you've done all of them, your wash should have dried and you can start the next step. So for this, we're using Cadian flesh tone again. What we're doing here is picking out all of the flesh, pretty much all of it, but we're leaving the recesses where that wash is. You can see now on the face, I'm painting on the cheeks, on the nose, lips and the chin, but underneath all of those details, you can see I'm leaving a little bit of a gap of the wash in between it, just so you can see the shadow, the depth is still on there, which is what we're after. And pay particular attention to the face. When you're painting these models, faces and bases are the 2 main things which I always say are important to spend more time on. And faces in particular can make your models stand out a lot more if you spend more time on them. And before we go any further with the skin tone itself, we're going to just paint the eyes here, because if you do the skin tone and you get all your layers up and then you do your eyes and get them wrong, it's annoying. So I tried to get the eyes done at this point, and all I've used is pallid witch flesh, and I've just painted the actual white of the eye in place, and I'm using some black ink from Games Workshop. It's an older ink that you can't really get from Games Workshop anymore, so I'd probably say go on eBay and find it, or find an alternative. The other option is just to thin down black paint, but the idea is that the ink flows a little bit better on your brush and you can get a nice precise line on the eyes. Next, we're going to highlight the skin with Kislev flesh and Cadian flesh tone, and this is a 50-50 mix, or a 1-to-1. And we're going to be picking out all the raised areas. So we're going to pick out the bridge of the nose, the top of the eyebrows, the cheeks again, and the top of the lip. And every time you're doing a highlight, just paint a little bit less, and you want to think where the light is going to be hitting the model, and that's where you're going to be putting these highlights. So I'm just imagining that the sun is almost above him, an isometric angle, and it's just hitting him on his face, which is why I'm picking out those raised areas. And I'm just leaving a little bit more of the Cadian flesh from before. And then we're going to pick another colour now, and we're going to use flayed one flesh and mix that with Kislev flesh. So we're doing another 50-50 mix. Now you could do another gap in between this. Instead of going mixing it with flayed one flesh, you can do another layer of Kislev and just do a pure Kislev layer. However, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this, so I'm mixing it with a lighter highlight and just doing the same again, picking out all of those raised areas I was talking about before, and just leaving a little bit of the previous highlight colour on there. And you want to go down the arms as well. For this, I'm just showing you it on the face, because there's obviously the arms that you'll be doing at the same time. Once that's dry, we're going to do a final highlight using flayed one flesh, and this you want to use quite sparingly, so I am just putting a very small amount on. You can, like I say, you can finish this, you can do another layer afterwards. You could mix a little bit of white into the flayed one flesh and do another highlight afterwards, but I would generally only do things like dots on the top of the cheeks, on the very tip of the nose and the tip of the eyebrows, and limit it to that pretty much. You can also paint lines on the fingers. You can see on the hands, he's got these nice lines that define where the fingers are, and around the muscle as well. That's generally what you want to do with all of this highlighting, is just to define any areas. And that's the model done. Just to kind of blend all of these colours together, I'm mixing Seraphim again with Lahmian Medium, and this is a 3-to-1 mix, 3 parts medium, 1 part Seraphim. And this is quite a thin wash, and I'm just going to go into all of those shadows, all of those recesses again, and darken them down a little bit. And it just, again, it gives you a lot more definition on the face, around the muscle areas, and you can add as much as you want. So if there's a certain area you want to be darker, then you can just add more of this and let it dry, and then add another layer if you want to. But that's pretty much it. It's quite a straightforward thing to do. The main thing is brace your hands on the table and be as neat as you can and build it up in very thin layers. But hopefully these colour combinations and the way that I've shown you how to paint this helps, and you can use it on one of your models in the future. Like I say, if you want to check out the full premium tutorial, go on over to wargameronline.com and sign up for the premium subscription. It's £2.99 a month, and that gives you access to the much larger premium tutorials. They're about 10 to 30 minutes, some of them, but it goes through how to paint, like on this one, the cloak, the bandages. On this cloak in particular, it was wet blended as well, so if that's the sort of thing you want to look at, that's what's on the premium tutorials. Other than that, thank you for watching this, and give us a like, and if you're not already subscribed, we would appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel for future updates. And hopefully we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching this.